Hello, this is Sirat Haidari. I am a recipient of Chevening Scholarship Program 2019-2020. I'm currently in Aberdeen in Scotland and studying at the Aberdeen University. I'm studying LLM, Master in International Commercial Arbitration. Today, I would like to talk about the Chevening experience, and I will provide some tips and tricks on how to go on and move on with the Chevening Scholarship Program. In this video, I would like to talk about tips and tricks for the interview. For other tips, you can watch my other videos talking about different parts of the Chevening application program. I divided this video clip into 3 categories. First, we will talk about the tips and tricks before the interview. Second, the setting of the interview, how the interview will be conducted. And third, the interview itself, the questions, and how to be ready to respond to questions. First, tips before the interview. The night before the day of the interview, it's always important to relax, to have a good night's sleep, to wake up in your convenient time. Do the things that makes you happy, makes you energetic, gives you power, and makes you ready for the day. If it's running, if it's going to the gym, try to dedicate the whole day for your interview. It's always good, no matter if your interview starts at 4 o'clock or if it's at like 9 o'clock in the morning. And be prepared for the interview. So many days, or at least a couple of days before the interview, you should have gone through all the questions, your essays, the application that you have submitted, the questions or the essays that you have answered, so that you don't scramble a few minutes or hours before the interview, going through all the papers and making things ready. For the interview, try to find the place and the exact location. Try to calculate the distance between your office or your home and also the Chevening location, wherever it might be. It's the British Embassy, British Council, or any other dedicated place. Calculate the time and try to be at least 15 minutes before the actual time of your interview. This year, because of the coronavirus pandemic, obviously all the interviews are conducted online. Still, try to be ready at least 5 minutes before the actual interview time registered. Try to make sure your smartphone or your computer is fully charged, you have internet connection, and everything is going smoothly and well, so that you don't panic during the interview time. And the whole day before your interview, during your interview, you should be proud of yourself, because if you have made it this far to the interview, that means you have already been successful. Because you are selected for the interview among so many thousands. I'm pretty sure in every country there will be thousands of applications. So if you have made it to the interview, you should be proud of yourself. Now we are going to talk about the second part of this video, which is the setting of the interview, if it's in person or if it's online. Of course, if it's in person, you register yourself as soon as you get to the venue where it is, or if it's online, you try to communicate with them before your actual time starts, so that you are ready in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or anything. And when the interview starts, there are normally 3 to 4 or 5 persons conducting the interview. Combination of maybe different fields, or based on your field that you have applied, or so they know what they are doing. Normally, if it's in different countries, sometimes the interviewers are in the UK, so they travel to specific countries to conduct the interview. And you will have one person or more from that embassy, or the British Council, or the embassy in the country. So there will be a panel of 3 to 5 people, and they will make sure everything is ready. You have a bottle of water before yourself, and they're trying to be very friendly. Normally, I've gone through this process for the interview 2 years. The first year, I made it to interview. I didn't make it to the final award, but the second year, I made it. and I'm here. So this means that I have experienced 2 times, and both times I saw amazing, polite, and very professional people. So they are trying to make sure that you are calm, you're relaxed, and they are asking you a question before they start the actual questions. Are you ready to proceed with the interview? And obviously you are. Moreover, the panel will ask questions in a way that they consider that English might not be your first language if you're coming from any country that English is not your first country. So I never experienced, I never saw, I've never heard from any of my friends to see that they have had, people with a very deep British accent that you wouldn't understand them. Even if they would have, they are trying to speak English in a very clear way so that you understand. And before they start their questions, they are trying to explain the nature of the interview, the procedure, the structure. They will introduce themselves and they will tell you to answer the questions as short or as brief as possible. And it's very good. I recommend this to be cautious of your time. This takes me to the third part of this video, which is the actual questions. Or maybe some of you were very much eager to go to the questions directly, which you can go. But I strongly believe that the first 2 parts are very important to be well aware of, so that you just don't go in a new environment, you don't know, you see people, you kind of panic. It's always good to be prepared, to be ready, and consider the first 2 parts of this video. So the third part of the video is the actual questions. Normally, the question starts differently, but they may have a kind of the same structure and go all the way to the last question. So I am going to tell you around 20 questions, and I'm going to tell you how to answer them. I'm not going very in depth to the questions and answers for now, but I'm trying to give you a head up. In my next video, I'm going to provide only the question and answers. I'm not going to only let you know how to give answers or provide them answers, but I'm going to help you on this way so that by the time you get to the next year or the upcoming year's interview, I would like to give you a lot of tips so that in your personal life, you go on, you develop and make yourself ready to give and provide actual confident and beautiful answers to all the questions that you are asked. So normally the question starts, the first question is normally, can you tell us something about yourself? Or can you please introduce yourself very briefly? You're given a time 1 to 2 minutes. During this time, you just introduce yourself, tell your name, where do you come from, where are you living. You can talk about your school, your university, and your current position where you are working. You can hint, in my idea, you can hint to your volunteer work or community work. For example, you say you are graduated a couple of years ago and now you are working in this position at this office. Meanwhile, I am working at this community organization, or I'm working in this volunteer work in order to provide this kind of work and facility for the people. And at the same time, I am doing these other things, or like I'm studying, I'm working on a project personally, or anything else. Normally, the next question will be, tell us about your education background, so that you go in depth to your school and to your university, and you talk about your achievements. If during your school you have participated in any extracurricular activities, it's a good opportunity to talk about them. And when did you graduated, what field did you study, and why did you study? So you give all these important tips and points that you deem it necessary for yourself, why you choose that field to you express your dreams and your wants based on your field. The next questions will definitely be about tell us about your professional achievements or your professional background. Then it's the time to talk about all your professional work. Where were you working during your undergraduate program? When did you start to work at this position? Your professional work. Do not talk about your volunteer work, just your professional work. You just say, okay, I'm working in this office if it's governmental or if it's private, talk about it. Try to show how important this company, this organization, this office is, and what kind of important impacts does it have to the community or to the whole country as a whole. And then try to express how important your position is or your job is, what you are doing as well. And then you talk about your achievements, your backgrounds, or your extracurricular activities, your volunteer work. There will be definitely a question. So then you say, okay, I'm working at this organization, I'm writing a book, I'm writing an article, I'm working with this community, helping the people, helping the poor, or if you're volunteering, or if you're working for a cause, you're training people. So this is very important. And it's important because these extracurricular activities that you do, or volunteer work that you do, it shows how important person you are. You're not only working in an office, but you are taking full advantage of the time that you have. You are volunteering, you work for the community, you have big ideas. You're not just working in an office, but you have a dream. You have your education, you have your professional life, and you have your volunteer life, and then you have your own personal life that you deal with it on your daily basis. So it's very important to mention all the volunteer works you do as well. Then they will ask you, what do you want to study? Why the master's degree you're applying, and why this field? Why you choose to be an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor? Then you have to provide all your dreams, your goals based on your field. And then you explain where and in which country which university would you like to study, and why do you like to study in that university, and why do you need the master's degree? Because the first question would be, okay, if you have a job, if you're working for your community, then you don't need a master's degree. They will probably ask you like this: you don't need a master's degree. You are a successful person. You are working. You are a leader in your community. You are doing all these things. So there is no need for the master's degree. Why do you want to study master's degree? It's very important that you provide that too. The next question will probably follow why you selected Chevening Scholarship and the UK. Why do you want to go to UK to proceed or follow up with your master's degree? So it's always very important to talk the importance of your master's degree and the importance of having a degree from the UK. And why you choose the UK? Is it because of the university, or is it because you like the UK, or any other issues that you have? It's very important to reflect your goals and ideas, your background, your education to the UK, and also to the development policies of the UK with your country, or the relations between the UK and your country, so that you say, okay, I want to be a leader in this field that's the same policies or relations that your country and the UK has together. So that this means, okay, why you want to study in the UK, to know and to learn all those important factors or relations that you have with one another. The other part would be about why Chevening scholarship, why not any other scholarship in the UK, or any other scholarship outside the UK, like Fulbright in the US, or DAD scholarship in Germany, or other French and scholarships. There are plenty. So you should have concrete answer based on your goal, why you want to study in the UK, why you don't want to go to Fulbright or DAD, or to the US, or to other countries in the Europe or Asia. The next question will probably be about which university you choose, and in which city, and why. So try to know which university you really want to apply. For example, I applied for Aberdeen University in Scotland. So I'm here and I'm studying law, international business law. So I should provide concrete answers that shows why I choose Aberdeen University, because Aberdeen is famous for what? For law, international commercial law, criminal law, domestic law, what law? And so based on your field of study, if you're studying economics, management, marketing, so which university and why did you choose that university? So you have to have a very general knowledge of that university, or through knowledge of that university, to provide why you study in that university, because of these important factors, not just because it's the best university. So what makes a university best? So you have to know those factors before expressing or explaining that it is a best university or the best university. And then you have to talk about the city, because it is very important to know the city where you are studying, because you're going to be there and living there for one full academic year. So if you are in London, or you're like in England or Wales or Scotland, first of all, you have to know in which part you are in the UK. And then you have to know, okay, if I am in, for example, Aberdeen in Scotland, you have to know something about Aberdeen, so that the first thing, it's very important for you, so that you don't regret one day, okay, I am in Aberdeen, and if I want to go to London, it is 12 hours by train, or a bus or train. So it's a very long way. So you have to know these factors. It's important for you. And meanwhile, if you don't know it, and then the panel tells you that, do you want to regularly go to London? And then you would say, yes, I definitely want to go. And then they would tell you that, okay, it's not easy for you unless you travel a lot. And of course, then you have to calculate your budget and money if you want to travel every now and then. So this is why it's very important to know the place of the place where you want to study. Or if it's London, then you have to give the justification why it's London. Because is it because it's very famous, or no, because any reason that you might have. So it's be very careful with the place and the university, both of them. The next question might be about the networking. So what kind of networks do you have? How your networks helped you so far? And do you know about the Chevening network? And what will you do once you complete your Chevening Scholarship Program? And as an alumni, what will you contribute? So it's very good to talk about your previous networks that you have had, which made you come this far and achieve things. Talk about your current networks that you have in your professional life, for example, at your job, at your university, at the community that you have with the people, or extra networks that you might have if you're currently studying in a place like English language, or you're studying other things. So you try to combine all these networks, try to talk about them, how it helped you or how it's helping you right now, or they are helping you. And then have a goal with all the networks in the future. So once you come to the UK, you will have you will be among at least 1,800 other Chevening scholars the same year. So what do you want to do with this this network? What will you contribute, or what kind of advantages will you take out of it? So be prepared to answer that types of questions. Following this, you talk about your management skills, your networking skills, and your achievements. So probably if you talked about your professional achievements or your professional life, that you have a career, you have a job, they will definitely talk about your management skills. They want to see if you can be, or if you are a good manager. About your skills, or your communication skills, your leadership skills, your management skills, your networking skills. So try to talk about them. Sometimes you need to combine them all together and express yourself, and sometimes you need to answer them one by one. Then you talk about your achievements. So probably you will have a question, what is your biggest achievement that makes you you, that makes you proud? So figure that out, what it is. Is it about your education, or your professional life, or your volunteer work in the community? It doesn't matter. Any of them it might be. If you have written a very important book, or you have had great achievements during your undergraduate program, or you have had great achievements in your professional or career life. So talk about them and be prepared to answer any kind of questions, because sometimes they will go very in depth to one question to make sure that you are telling the truth and you know about this. And then you will talk about the questions will be about your long-term goals and short-term goals. So be prepared to answer a question that in the next 5 years, what are you going to do? That will be your short-term goals. Or in the next, your long-term goals in the next 25 years, where do you want to see yourself, or where do you see yourself? So try to prepare your goals, your mission statement, so that, yes, what you really want to achieve. So be careful what you want to answer this, because you have to know that if you have studied what you've studied during the undergraduate program, what do you want to study during your master's, and then where you're working now, so that there should be a relationship between them, so that, okay, step by step you reach to your goal. There might be questions that we haven't talked yet, because I thought I'm going about 20 questions. So there will be questions, who is your role model? So be prepared to answer such a question, that, okay, who is my role model? Because I have many goals. I want to implement these ideas. But who's your role model? It's not just, and you say, okay, Mark Zuckerberg, or Bill Gates, or I don't know, maybe a politician or a doctor or somebody. So they will ask you more questions. Okay, how is he or she your role model? And why? What were their achievements? What things did you learn from them? What things have you already incorporated in your life? And what things you have learned from them, so that you will be prepared in the future? So it's good to be prepared for that. Other questions might be, why you? Why should we choose you for this scholarship program? What makes you stand out of the crowd? So be prepared to tell why, because there are maybe your friends applying for this scholarship program, and maybe in a way you express that your friend has applied. So they will ask you why we give this scholarship to you and not to your friend. Or maybe people from your office has applied to this program, so they will know it, and they say, okay, a few minutes ago or an hour ago we interviewed your colleague from the same office, so why should we give it to you and not give it to them? So these are tricky and important questions to be ready to answer. So these are generally an overview of the Chevening Scholarship Program interview questions and the steps. So if you were expecting to get a lot of questions and a lot of answers, I would like to tell you that this video was not about that. This video was very much about to tell you the 3 important steps or parts that you need to be prepared. I would like to do a recap first, that tips that you need to do before the interview, like prepare yourself, have you a day, relax, sleep well, eat well, drink well, and hydrate yourself, and be motivated, be energetic, and be confident, be relaxed for the interview. And the second part was very much to know about the structure, the procedure, and the setting of the interview, and things that's going on in the procedural ways of the interview. And the third part, it was about the questions. I've gone through 20 to 25 questions that are very important and will definitely be asked during the interview for those of you who have your interviews in the coming days and weeks. So be prepared. In my next videos, you will find different parts of the Chevening Scholarship Program, especially one part is designated for all the questions. In this part, I am not trying to just go question and answer and tell you how to answer. I will go very in depth to every question and how to answer them and how to utilize your time in the best way possible. I wish you best of luck and success. You can do it. If you have gone so far, this means you can do it. And for those who are just preparing for future years to apply, and for those who didn't make it so far, I promise you I will upload more videos, and there are already many other videos that will help you and prepare you so that next year or next term when you apply, we will go one by one, step by step, so that I prepare you practically in your country, so that you do these things, that in the next 4 or 5 months you will have your own volunteer work, your professional career, and tips and tricks ready, so that you win the next Chevening Scholarship Program. And we might see one another in the UK or some other place, or maybe in a Chevening Scholarship event together. I wish to see you all one day, and I wish you best of luck. Thank you.